he did eat. Another challenge was to get the right to safe motherhood on the agenda of women's movement. Women in the richer countries of the world have long forgotten what maternal mortality is. Their sisters in resource-poor countries have come to accept maternal death as a matter of fate. The Fourth World Conference on Women, convened in Beijing in 1995, ended with the declaration of an excellent platform for action. 12 critical areas of concern to women were highlighted. All of them are important, and I would fully endorse. But one critical area was conspicuous by its absence: women's right to safe motherhood. In a plea for women's solidarity and for putting safe motherhood on the feminist agenda, I reminded my good feminist friends that Mary Wollstonecraft, a British founder of the feminist movement and author of Vindication of the Rights of Women, died because of pregnancy and childbirth. In the description given in Wikipedia, it says, although the delivery seemed to go well initially, the placenta broke apart during the birth and became infected. After several days of agony, Wollstonecraft died of septicemia at the young age of 38, 12 days after she gave birth to her second daughter. Yes, this was in the year 1797, but it is still the same fate and condition for tens of thousands of women in the world every year. In her memory, feminists should vindicate the right of all women to safe motherhood. Reflecting back on these challenges, I can say that the safe motherhood movement has achieved considerable success. But I submit that there is still an unspoken excuse for not investing what it takes to eliminate the tragedy of maternal deaths. It is the question of how much the saving of mother's life is considered worth. I am not making a rhetorical statement. Rational allocation of resources to prevent deaths requires, according to health economists, some monetary valuation of the life of different individuals. This notion may be repugnant to us, health professionals, who like to think that nothing is too expensive for the sake of saving life. However, societies unconsciously or consciously put an invisible price tag on our lives to decide when the need arises on who shall live and who shall die. One element in the valuation of a human life, economists say, is how much investment society has already made in the individual. Another element is how much value the society sets on the individual's continued economic contribution. Many developing countries today still invest much less in girls than in boys. Also, a common misconception is that women contribute a minor share of the country's economic product. Conventional measures of economic activity undercount women's paid labor and do not cover their unpaid labor. The economic invisibility of women is because their work, much that it counts, is not counted. The inconvenient truth, and let us face it, is that the tragedy of maternal mortality is a question of how much the life of a mother and a woman is considered worth. Mothers are not dying because of diseases we cannot treat. They are dying because societies have yet to make the decision that their lives are worth saving. I submit to you also that an additional factor is that few women are in the position of decision-making about the allocation of resources, particularly in countries where these resources are scarce. After I completed 50 years in the noble profession of women's health, I was once asked what is the one prescription which I think women need most for their health. My answer was power. Powerlessness of women, in my professional experience, is a serious health hazard, and particularly in maternal health. But women have to fill that prescription themselves and to keep a sustainable stock of it. When asked about the dose for that prescription, my advice was to take as much as you can get. There is no risk of overdosage, and there are no reported side effects. I want to conclude with a message of hope. We, women and men, who campaigned for many years, can never give up hope on the beautiful dream of a world where motherhood is safe for all women. But we also have objective grounds for hope. The world is taking notice. At the Millennium Summit in the year 2000, representatives from 189 countries committed themselves to 8 Millennium Development Goals. Improving maternal health is one of the 8 goals adopted. Another goal is to promote gender equality and empower women. Safe motherhood has now been raised to the status of a human rights issue. The United Nations Human Rights Council in the year 2010 put preventable maternal mortality on its agenda of human rights violations. I was one of the experts who addressed the Council on that occasion. The Council adopted a landmark resolution. Women's right to safe motherhood is now recognized as a human right that should be respected, protected, and implemented. Progress is being made, though not up to our expectations. The Millennium Development Goal for improving maternal health has set a target for countries with high levels of maternal mortality to reduce the maternal mortality rate by 75% between 1990 and 2015. At a recent report by WHO and its partners for the year 2010, showed several countries are delivering on the promise. 10 countries have already achieved the target. 9 other countries are on track. Moreover, 50 countries are making progress. Conversely, 14 countries have made insufficient progress, and 11 are characterized as having made no progress and are likely to miss the target unless accelerated interventions are put in place. Obstetricians are taking seriously their social and global responsibility. They have stepped forward to be a part of the action. When I was the president of the International Federation of Gynecology and Obstetrics, FIGO, we asked our member societies in the richest and poorest countries of the world about their willingness and readiness to work together to demonstrate through action at district levels that the lives of mothers can be saved at a cost that is affordable in low-resource settings. We were overwhelmed by the response. The limiting factor was to get the necessary funding for the project. This is why FIGO established its Save the Mothers Fund in 1997. But why I trust there is big hope is because women are making advances in strides and in all parts of the world. They are claiming their human rights and asserting their real worth. They have abandoned the language of silence. Women in many developing countries are progressing towards gender equality. They still have some steep mountains to climb, but women are not for turning. I will not be around to see the dream of safe motherhood for all come true, but I pin my hope on the power of women, backed by the health profession and supported by the global community.